Okay, time for a weekly visit with garden author Deb Lambert. We are at Corliss Brothers on a kind of a great Tuesday. And Deb, plants of the week, what we got this week?
Oh, we have a lot. Everything is pretty much stepping on each other's toes in an effort to get its color out there early in the spring. We have viburnums, we have fothergilla, and we have quite a few different plants to look at this week. First off, we'll start with the azaleas. And one of the earliest azaleas to bloom is going to be the Cornell pink. And that is a obviously deciduous azalea. The leaves come along after the flowers have dropped. That is a plant that gets to about 6 feet and maybe 4 to 6 feet wide. It's a nice rounded form, and it's a very pretty plant for that early splash of color in the landscape, earlier than many other plants will give you. And just on the other side of this camperdown elm that we have here, the nice weeping
the big tree?
Isn't that pretty?
All right, I got to get back to this one.
You have to.
Okay.
This is so pretty.
All right.
I love the form of that. Not a small plant. That's a plant that'll get 30, 40 feet tall eventually, but very, very pretty.
Okay.
And on the other side of this over here, we have another of the early blooming azaleas, and this is called Manchurian azalea, or Macronulatum is the botanical. And that also, as you can see, is a deciduous early bloomer, and that gives you that really early spot of color in the landscape. Over to the left, we actually have fothergilla, or fothergilla, whichever you prefer. And it has these unique little bottle brush type flowers on it. I mean, they are just amazing. And they're so pretty. And they look good over a period of several weeks, too. I have one and have been enjoying it for several years now. This is a plant also that blooms just as the leaves are starting to come along. The leaf buds are just starting to open up, but you've got really unusual interest in a plant that is at maturity about 4, maybe 5 feet tall and wide. It's going to give you something nice and full, and I'll tell you, they are spectacular. I like it more each year. It's just more and more substance to it, but it's a pretty plant. The next one is viburnum, and this is a Berkwood viburnum, and these are plants that will get in the 6 to 8 foot range eventually. You can keep them clipped a little bit with some judicious pruning right after they flower to keep them a little more compact, but they are wonderful early color, and I don't know if you can get maybe a close-up in on that blossom, but it is just so pretty. And especially when it's in a combination of the full open blossoms and the pink buds coming along. And there is some light fragrance to that one, too. It's related to the Korean spice, which maybe has a little bit more fragrance, but I like the foliage better on the Berkwood. I think it's very, very pretty. Nice plant. So again, early color, early fragrance in the landscape, which is so important. And of course, in the background, we see our forsythia here and there.
Yeah, they're all over the place right now.
They're everywhere, and they're just showing. I mean, we talked earlier about it being one of the old-fashioned standards, but you just can't beat it on a day like this for the bright yellow or gold color. And you can see that they vary a little bit. That one's more in the gold. This one is a little lighter color, sort of a light gold on this one. This one's Spring Glory. Pretty much on the forsythia, we're looking at heights ranging from 6 to 8 feet. And these are big cascading plants that want to get maybe 6 to 8 feet wide. And so if you put them up in a forced area where you're trying to keep them as a tight rounded shrub, or you're trying to keep them confined in the space, they just don't do well, or they don't look well, more realistically. And so if you can put them in a big open space, maybe a mixed border, shrub border, where they can really attain their full size, that's where they're seen to the best advantage, rather than constantly pruning them. And you know, you go by the landscapes and see them pruned like little ice cream cones, or round, or sometimes square. I have a problem with square forsythia for some reason, but and sometimes it's pruning at the wrong time that does it too. But giving them the space they need so that they can be graceful. One trick with the forsythia is to get in there and prune out the very oldest wood about every 3 to 4 years. 3 years is a better time frame, because you get your best flower productions on younger canes. So that if you keep getting in there and renewing it by taking out the oldest canes, you have a healthy shrub that has better air circulation. It's going to survive and thrive much better, and it's going to look better long term. You're going to have many more blossoms on it come spring.
All right, those are our plants of the week with garden author Deb Lambert. I'm Rick Moore.